Hey everyone, welcome back to another speed build. So this is the sister to the house that I posted last, the light academia little Victorian house. This is a dark academia mini Victorian. Looks a little less traditionally Victorian, I guess, than the pink one does, which here, for the purposes of building, you can see it right next door. That being said, this was kind of similar to the one that I did last, where I kind of found like a picture online and tried to see how I could translate it to The Sims. So a lot of this early building process you see here is me trying to figure out how to make that work. And you can see I kind of started out with the Strangerville windows, and eventually I give up on that because I was like, well, if I made the Light Academia house base game only, I should make this one base game only too. Although what I might do is make, multi-pack versions of both of them, so that way both are available. Bearing in mind that I guess that immediately makes the multi-pack versions less accessible to you guys, but I might put like a vote if I can do that. I'm not sure. We gotta look into it. But I really kind of want, for this one in particular, I want to, I think, try to make a multi-pack version, because I love those like pointed Gothic kind of style windows that came with Strangerville. Strangerville is like really weird in that it has a lot of really cool stuff for building Victorian houses. But like also like not quite enough stuff. Like I kind of wish there were more windows, if I'm being honest, and more, the doors are so beautiful in Strangerville, but they are, I think, are only for middle wall height, which is a shame. And I even like bounced around with the lower floor of this one, trying to see if I could, make it bigger or smaller to try to get the proportions a little better, because the house that I was using as reference is a real house. I think part of it is scale. I think it would have been a little more doable if we could do like half walls in The Sims, in the way where we could do a half wall, I guess, horizontally is what I'm trying to say. Like, instead of like half wall height. Oh, wait. I'm being so silly. I want half walls widthwise. That's what I want. Like half of a grid space, I think would be good. Which, I guess, since we're not getting The Sims 5, I don't know what we're going to do. Because Project Renee, I guess, is still a mystery of some degree. I don't know. Really weird. But, I mean, you saw me play with these windows, and it was hard to figure out, like, what I wanted to use. And, of course, once I decided I was going to do base game only, I was like, oh, man, I got to make some changes, which you'll see later, because I couldn't use this, like, really pretty dark green, like, shingly siding. I think I ended up doing, like, an orangey one. Yes, it's an orangey one. I know that because I tried to film cinematic intro-y stuff, which worked to a certain degree, but my poor laptop is a former corporate America laptop that I sort of inherited from work, and it's not meant for this. It's not meant for streaming screen recording a video game that already takes up like a lot of processing space. So I tried. It might not be as much cinematic footage as I usually put in because I found myself getting a little frustrated. I've been thinking of trying to buy a PC, but I had some car trouble recently. I had to get a new transmission put in the car. So that took away any like sort of new computer money I might dream of having. We'll see. I know some folks, creator-wise, make Patreons. I've considered that. I just am fearful I haven't done enough research into like the implications of that. Like if there's like taxes involved or what I would have to do, I'd have to look into it a little more. The only familiarity I have with setting up things for money is like a GoFundMe, and that has always been for something where I've like, experienced trauma and I needed help. Whereas this is, at least for now, kind of something I do for fun, to have a creative outlet. Like when I don't have like a show to work on, some of you might know I perform as an actor here in Chicago. And, gigs are come and go. It's all dependent on if you fit the show and they can see you as insert whatever character. So this is a nice way for me to get to storytell and kind of keep those muscles going, even if I'm not actively performing. And of course, here's the voiceover aspect, which I'm still trying to decide if I want to keep voiceover or maybe swap to like a purely background music sort of situation. I don't know. Let me know. I've also considered, since I do have friends that tell me my voice is soothing, I thought about doing like an ASMR sort of thing, which I don't know. Maybe I'm incorrect in using the term ASMR. But would anyone be interested in watching me build while like I read, chapters from a book? It could be almost like a series. Of course, I think that means it would almost like invite that I would be like building things related to the story. Potentially. Maybe not. Still thinking on it. Back in the day, circa when I was in middle and high school, I made like Sims 2 machinima of the Harry Potter series, and I didn't get super far, and also of the L. Frank Baum Wizard of Oz books. I've considered coming back to the Oz books now that like I sort of have a bit stronger of a creative muscle and understand the structure of storytelling a little bit, and I think I could like adapt a novel to the quote unquote like film requirements of The Sims, but it would also be a lot of work, and I don't necessarily have like tons of downtime outside of my day job, and sometimes if anyone else is working to keep themselves alive, sound off in the comments. But sometimes you have a full work day and you're lucky if you've got the energy to pop a little food in the microwave. So it comes and goes. But if anyone would like that, or if you have maybe suggestions for stories that you would like to hear me read while watching me build houses, let me know. It could even be like where I start a series where maybe the houses aren't necessarily related to the story, like as in I'm creating things from the story, but maybe things that have similar vibes to the story. Like I thought about maybe doing like a thing where I read stuff that's in the public domain, which is probably what I would have to do anyway, where it's like, I read Pride and Prejudice or something of that nature, and might build, say, like a Victorian garden, which I have done a Victorian greenhouse on the channel. That was a while back. I think back when I didn't even know how to like get audio to sound good. Not that I'm saying my current audio is the best, but it's definitely gotten better. I do have a very fancy microphone that is it's a Yeti Nano. Anybody else have one of those? That I think is for podcasting and streaming, and it's pretty good. It doesn't have a sound filter. I think that's one thing that a lot of people, content creator wise, have, just to stop with like the pops and the breath sounds and to clear up the noise, the equalization. I don't know. I don't know enough audio terms to be throwing these out here. I have plenty of friends that know sound engineering. It is not me. Anyway, we're into the kitchen here in the build. This table ends up being changed a little bit because I realized you couldn't get into the fridge when I went to play test with the sim. The sim for this build, her name is Jasmine Caldwell. She also wears entirely base game stuff. I don't think I've ever put any of my sims that I've made up here on the gallery. Mainly because like I make them pretty quickly. Sometimes there's a little bit more time involved, but usually I kind of throw them together pretty quick. And like there is a storyline because like I do kind of like try to make someone where you're like, oh, it makes sense that this person would live here, but it also like helps me do like a little bit of like storytelling setup at the top and closings of the videos. We're doing a little bit of cluttering now where I used, I think they're called the Executron bookshelves here, and tried to like hide things up inside the bookshelves. I actually didn't use Tool, I don't think, for anything on the inside. I did use it on the outside for stuff that you won't necessarily see here in the build footage, where I tried to do a similar thing to what I did on the Light Academia house, where I used the coreable objects from base game, rotated them, and tried to make like that sort of like lattice work that you see on a lot of Victorian homes. But I did find out that I guess a lot of the stuff I use in my normal build style is base game. Case in point, this little bakery item cloche display, which I don't think actually ends up being in the final one. A lot of the cabinets in the kitchen get removed later. Before I put it up on the gallery, I will probably double check just to make everything works pretty well. And the stairs upstairs here, they had to get redone too, because the platform I built to have the modular staircase didn't work. I just had to do like the regular modular staircase the way that the stairs themselves are already programmed. I thought maybe it would be a little easier to sort of make a platform version, but I was wrong. I guess this is how we learn. Kind of a bummer though, because it like made the upstairs work a little better. But regardless, this build actually ended up being pretty cute. It's very cozy. Part of the reason why I had to adjust the proportions is because I knew that the upstairs, since it's sort of tucked into the roof, had to be at least 2 tiles wide. Otherwise, it didn't make any sense to include anything on the second floor. And I think I kind of really needed things to be on the second floor. This could have all been a 1-story house. I would have had to like shift things around in the office-y area, but it would have worked out fine, I think. I will say maybe in like a different universe, a different timeline, I might have made the kitchen something else, but I think it worked. It's very pretty kitchen, very big windows, which could be a little much, if you've got your neighbors nearby and you're just trying to have your coffee in the morning and they can stare you down because you've got huge windows. But hey, I'm not going to judge this lady that lives here. we're getting into the landscaping now. Pretty much entirely debug base game landscaping. I mean, base game, just as a blanket statement, I'm going to have to double check the house itself. Double check the house itself before I put this on the gallery, because it's still internally in my in-game library saying that maybe I used Strangerville somewhere. I'm trying to figure out how. I wonder if maybe I accidentally kept like a fence piece or something else. Maybe it was the stair railing, because I really love the stair railing from Strangerville that you saw earlier on in the video, but I had to take it out because I was like, we should make this base game. Then I did a thing down here where I made a little curvy path, did a little more like scattering of bushes. Eventually you'll see, or maybe you won't see, I think I did it off camera, where I do add like a lamppost object. I do put a fountain here, and that stays. And then I played with having a fence, but none of the base game live editor debug stuff really worked. I even like tried to like do a playful thing where there was like the elephant topiary was playing in the fountain. But I didn't do it. Now I'm doing a little bit of adjusting to the upstairs. This might have been, no, this isn't where I realized the stairs don't work. This is just decorating, gallery walling the upstairs hall. And it's a shame because like there ended up being a cute little dragon statue I put, you know, the little wood carving dragon, and I had to take him out because the stairs didn't work, and that section where he ends up being in the corner had to go away because it had to be open for the stairs. But that's all the build footage I have, guys. We'll go into screenshots and cinematics. I appreciate you. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.